I'll tell you what this seems to me. There's, in the topic at hand, there are several simultaneous discussions. You have, if the individual believes there's a difference between gender and sex. You have individual rights, processes of public education, morality, and it ends up being this soup of a discussion that it's, I think, so easy to get bogged down in. I'd like to throw my hat in the ring here and start with Bonnet Moms and tangentially Snedmeister, where Sned, in his video, said that he's of the approach that if he observes a person's making an attempt to appear in the social construct to be of a female persuasion or girl gender, then he would address her as Miss or Ma'am, and likewise, person making attempts, they would say he or him. Your reasoning was at the belief of being polite, and Bonnet Mom responded to that with, is that not a lie, and does that not perpetuate the madness? That will bring us to a bit of an impasse where I'm coming from, in that maybe I see gender different than what you see gender, and maybe they see gender different than what you see gender. For a while now, the term of gender has been actually detached from birth sex. There's some rough research that you can do that talks about like 5 different layers of gender and gender assignment. There are statistical data on the number of people that have degrees of sexual organs, and there's some interesting information out there that goes beyond, I think, what happens within the bubble of, well, you were born with a penis and testicles, therefore you're a boy. You were born with a vagina and ovaries, therefore you were a girl. So why that's managed to be detached? You hovered around it a little bit, Bonnet, and I'm with you on that why. But I also, I'm gonna guess from the conversations that we're having, I'm going to assume that I am around the people in this community more than what y'all are. I don't think you are going to gay pride parades, that sort of thing. I don't think that you have your home as a safe space when a young person has been kicked out of their home. I'm not quite getting that vibe. And Shafe, even the opposite. You were saying like you would literally not have your children associate with such persons. And so I'm just on here to offer my perspective. If where you're coming from is, and again, this is just one aspect of this multi-layered conversation. If your etched in stone point is that gender is associated directly with birth, genitalia, then, that brings us out of the same conversation. And I would say going from there, we got to find somewhere else in the future where we'd be cool with it. I am with the escaped dental patient in where he said that it was a few videos back where it was his kid was more aware of like what a cisgender person is, but they didn't know, say, what the capital of whatever state was. It didn't make sense that a youngster would understand social concepts prior to understanding like science and that kind of like good, solid, concrete stuff. I get that, and I sit there with you. As for when I hear from our group do whatever you want, like in the privacy or the process of your own home, you do your thing, just don't mess with my kids. I believe you guys as friends. However, when you do look at some people, when they say that argument, it's very similar to the people, like, I don't know how much y'all see it, but down here you got they'll have a Tennessee battle flag, known as the Stars and Bars, what's more commonly referred to as the Confederate flag, which ironically isn't the Confederate flag, but I digress on that. But you'll see underneath that, and it'll say heritage, not hate. But you really get to talking to that person, and it eventually, in many cases, comes out. Like their biases against it, how that's actually detestable and gross, and they don't want to be around it at all. My thought is, where does the solution lie? Continuing down this path where everything just remains divisiveness, I don't think we ever get to the point where things are cool. It remains divisiveness. Now, circling back to Bonnet Mom saying what the actual base of this whole thing is, two things. I'm going to give you the short and skinny of it, and I'm going to say there's a lot of things that the devil and the dragon has roaming this earth, just fostering confusion, gaslighting us, in our understandings and our core beliefs. I think it's a damn shame. I also believe human nature, such as politicians, use these discussions and debates just to further their own political existence. And I think it's weaponized and is being used against us. That's a point that I've tried to make in the past. And as AI becomes more and more prolific, I would say look out for more of this. Want to finish off something here in closing. There are social media bubbles that exist around certain groups. And the reason I want to bring that up is because you take the homosexual and, transgender community, they exist within a very different tier of social media than what conservatives do. They get different news reports. They get reports coming from the Middle East and about the abuses and the Christian concentration camps where people send their so-called gay kids off to get ungayified, to make right, to make straight. Some of these camps and situations are a little bit alarming and can be eye-opening when you realize the situation. I don't have the answers, okay? Let me just clarify that. But what I can say is that without the patience and the continued understanding, it's going to be a road that leads to nothing. Public education is not stronger for them taking fucking To Kill a Mockingbird, because it has the word nigger in it somewhere, and then replacing it with Are You a Boy, actually, you know, or pulling out, you know, Dear God, This Is Margaret. So there's my 2 cents. I appreciate the videos everybody's making. I'm enjoying the topic and the discourse, and similar to Sned, please don't be afraid to offend me. I'm good either way. I do come off as defensive in the comments, but you know, I believe freedom is very important, and I become very concerned with any principality that begins to whittle away and take away from that freedom. The woke culture, I believe, strongly whittles away at that freedom, and I believe the Trump type people on the other side are in opposition of freedom and the truth in the other direction. So, all right. There's 12 minutes of your life you ain't getting back. And I don't apologize. Get y'all later.